James Caldwell stood before his bathroom mirror, roughening his appearance. Gone was the tailored suit that normally adorned the owner of Prime Tech Electronics. Instead, he pulled on a worn delivery uniform. For weeks, financial reports from his flagship store had kept him awake. Inexplicable inventory losses, profits dropping, and a growing stack of employee termination notices. Traditional audits had turned up nothing. Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to find the truth, James muttered. He'd built Prime Tech from nothing, but few knew his face. Now that anonymity would become his greatest asset, at 6 a.m., James joined new hires with fabricated employment papers. The orientation was led by Derek Shaw, the store manager, whose presence commanded attention bordering on arrogance. Efficiency is everything, Derek announced. Stay in designated areas, follow protocols, don't ask unnecessary questions. We're a family here, but families have rules. Something in Derek's tone raised alarm. As his shift began, the atmosphere fell off. Employees fell silent when supervisors passed. Through gaps between shelving, James spotted workers moving shipments with unusual urgency. Security cameras were positioned correctly, but certain employees navigated around them with practiced ease, creating blind spots. That afternoon, a shipment of smartphones arrived, over $100,000 worth. Derek appeared, and workers scattered. Johnson processed these according to the new protocol. James noticed boxes disappearing into a section that shouldn't exist. 3 days later, another termination. Sarah Chun, 5 years in inventory management, was escorted out in tears. The security footage doesn't lie, Derek announced. During lunch, James overheard workers. Sarah warned management for months. Just like Marcus and Jamal, anyone who notices anything ends up on camera with missing stock. That afternoon, Luis Rodriguez, a hardworking employee of over a decade, was logging shipments when Derek erupted. Rodriguez, explain this. He showed footage of Luis accessing restricted inventory. James froze. He knew Luis had been helping him at that exact time. That's impossible, Luis protested. I was with the new hire, Derek cut him off. The footage is time-stamped. You're terminated. My daughter's tuition, Luis whispered. That evening, James accessed the security office using his owner's codes. The footage showing Luis had been digitally altered. Similar discrepancies appeared in footage against Sarah, Marcus, and Jamal. Someone was editing security footage, framing innocent employees. As James prepared to leave, voices approached. He slipped into a closet as Derek and Travis entered. The Rodriguez situation is handled, Derek said. Fear's a powerful motivator. But people trusted him, Travis replied. That's why he had to go. Can't have people asking questions. Besides, we needed a fall guy for last week's shipment. The buyers are getting impatient. Buyers. This was organized theft with innocent employees taking the fall. James volunteered for the late shift. At 11:30 p.m., headlights appeared behind the building. Through the emergency door, James saw a black van backed where cameras couldn't reach. Derek emerged with 2 men, heading for high-security storage. James filmed as they loaded smartphones, laptops, and consoles into the van. That's 80 grand worth, Derek said. Same time next week. Then Derek revealed a hidden safe filled with cash. Beautiful thing about the black market, no paper trail. Fire enough people, and the rest fall in line. James needed undeniable proof. He spent the weekend installing miniature cameras in locations Derek would never check, connected to a secure cloud server. He arranged a special shipment with microscopic tracking devices. Monday arrived. James had anonymously tipped Derek about the valuable shipment. Tonight's the night, Derek told someone. Biggest shipment yet. At 10:45 p.m., the black van arrived. Derek's crew began loading. We'll clear at least 100 grand tonight, Derek boasted. What about the footage? Travis asked. Already handled. I've got the perfect fall guy, that new guy, James. Tomorrow the footage will show him stealing everything. James pressed a button, flooding the warehouse with light. Going somewhere with my merchandise, Derek? Derek's face showed horror as James pulled out his corporate ID. James Caldwell, owner and CEO of Prime Tech Electronics. You're under arrest. Police officers emerged. Derek lunged but was caught. This is impossible. You mean this footage? James held up his tablet showing multiple feeds. Or these? He displayed original logs and records of every manipulation. Travis immediately confessed. The van driver was apprehended. Your biggest mistake, Derek? You forgot that people you look down on are more than they appear. 1 month later, Prime Tech's warehouse hummed with renewed energy. Luis Rodriguez returned as assistant manager, his daughter's college tuition covered. Sarah Chun headed inventory control. Marcus Lopez and Jamal Washington were reinstated with promotions. Derek faced federal charges for a black market operation spanning several states with millions in profits. James overhauled warehouse operations entirely. No single person can modify security footage without multiple approvals, he explained. Every employee now has direct access to HR and an anonymous reporting system. He established worker advocacy committees, profit-sharing programs, and educational benefits. The best security isn't cameras or locks. It's having employees who feel valued and invested in the company's success. Employees who once worked with downcast eyes now showed confidence. One morning, James found workers around Luis's desk discussing inventory improvements. We've developed a new protocol, Luis explained. It makes it impossible for any single person to manipulate numbers. With the theft ring dismantled, profits soared and employee retention reached record highs. Prime Tech became a model for corporate transparency. The key was remembering what built this company, James told the board. Not systems and products, but people. When you trust employees and treat them with respect, they become your best defense against corruption. 1 year later, James stood by the loading dock in a delivery uniform, watching the warehouse's smooth operation. Luis approached with a smile. Checking up on us, Mr. Caldwell. Just keeping myself honest. You never know when you might learn something new. The warehouse had become a community built on trust, respect, and shared purpose. The greatest victory wasn't stopping the theft or catching criminals. It was proving that when people are treated with dignity and trust, they rise to meet that expectation. Prime Tech hadn't just recovered. It had emerged stronger, wiser, and more human.